Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and another video in my series of free flower pot SVGs. I'm working my way through all of the popular holidays and occasions throughout the year. We've had some fairly niche, maybe not as widely recognised holidays already, such as Mardi Gras and St. Patrick's Day, but today we're going for something that everybody celebrates, and that is, can you guess? Birthdays! This lovely, bright and cheery and colourful flower pot has got 2 birthday balloons coming out the back and 3 little candles, sticking out the middle there. I'm still getting used to my camera. This is a lovely, easy design with lots of simple shapes to cut. So it's quick and easy to put together if you've got any last-minute birthdays that maybe you need to make a gift for, such as a shadow box or a greetings card. For this design, I've cut it big to go in my frame, but it looks equally lovely, shrunk smaller to go on a greetings card too. Here's how it looks on my greetings card. This is a 5x7 inch card front. I changed up some of the colours to match some birthday pattern paper I had, which I think looks lovely displayed behind the flowers. This is very, very small, especially when you compare it to the shadow box, but the Cricut still cuts it absolutely perfectly. So let's find out where to get the free SVG to make this project and then how to make it. Let's get started. You can find the free files to make this project at craftwithsarah.com/free-SVGs, or click the link in the description of this video to go to the tutorial where you can download straight from that page. You'll need to register a free account on my website in order to download any of the designs. The download comes in a zip folder. Before you can get the files into your cutting machine software, you'll need to unzip that folder. Visit craftwithsarah.com/help for instructions on how to do that, as well as a wide range of other tutorials on how to use your Cricut, Silhouette, or Scan and Cut machine. After you've downloaded and unzipped the folder, it's time to get the SVG file into Cricut Design Space. Open up Design Space and start a new project, then go into Upload over on the left, and then Upload Image. You can then either click Browse to find the file on your computer, or drag and drop it in. Make sure you choose the unzipped version of the download folder, and within there you'll see lots of subfolders with numbers down the left-hand side, as well as an assembly guide folder that contains the printable guide on how to put all of the layers together. If you're using a Cricut machine, it's nice and easy. You just go into the 01 Cricut version folder. If you're using a different type of cutting machine, such as a Scan and Cut or a Silhouette, and you're not sure which file is best to use, head to craftwithsarah.com/help. Choose your type of machine from the list of options, and within there are separate videos that go through how to use my files with your machine. But for a Cricut, we'll go into 01 Cricut version, and within there is just one file to make it really easy to know which one to choose. But just to make it extra clear, the file you want for Cricut Design Space is the one that starts SVG-01 in the file name. Click and drag it in, and this is what it looks like with all of the pieces one on top of the other. If you're seeing anything different to what my screen is showing now, that means you've accidentally uploaded the wrong file. So if that's the case, press cancel down here on the bottom right, try again, and make sure you look in the 01 Cricut version folder and select the file that starts SVG-01. When it's looking like this, press continue, and then on the next screen, press upload, and it will then insert onto your project. The design comes in at a size that is great to cut out, but of course you can resize it if you want to. When you're resizing, make sure the padlock icon above the width and the height is closed. If yours is open, click it to close it. And that means you can then resize either the width or the height, press enter on your keyboard, and the other measurement changes too to keep everything in proportion. I'm going to keep things really simple with this one because I've got some lovely birthday themed pattern paper that I want to use inside a shadow box. So let's very quickly show how you could create a couple of extra bits in Design Space to get this framed in a shadow box. I've already measured the size of the spacer within my frame, so I know that that is 9 by 9 inches. I'll go into Shapes and choose a square and make that 9 by 9 inches. And let's just make it a grey for now. I'll be using my patterned paper. And then I want my design to show on top, so we'll go Arrange, Bring to Front. and I reckon about 7.5 inches tall. Yeah, that looks lovely. Because the pattern I'm planning on using is really, really colourful and detailed, I think my design might end up looking a little bit lost. If you're facing the same problem, an easy way to help separate the design from the background is to add an offset layer. Go into offset and choose the thickness you want. That's probably a little bit too thick. Let's just try 0.2. And still a bit thick, 0.15. And press apply. I'll change the colour to white. And then this will cut a white layer, which looks like this. I don't want it to cut the little gaps in the middle, so with it still selected, go into contour down the bottom right, hide all contours, and that will fill in all of those gaps. So now I'll have my brightly coloured background paper, then I'll stick on this white piece, and then on top of that will be my birthday flower pot, so it will stand out nicely from the background because of the white border. For more information on making shadow boxes like this, as well as details on how to make other types of shadow box frames and how to add more details with layers and adding extra images, head to craftwithsarah.com/help. There's a separate video and written tutorial in there on making all kinds of different frames and also greetings cards within Cricut Design Space. And if you're on a Silhouette or a scanning cut, don't worry, I've recorded those same videos in your software too, so that you can follow along. I mentioned greetings cards just then. I'm going to be cutting this to go in my frame like you can see now, but also I'm going to shrink it down small to show you that it can go on a greetings card just as easily as it can in a large frame. Let's take a look at the card design. This is what my greetings card version will look like. I've done a very similar thing where I've created a background rectangle which will be cut from pattern paper, and then to make sure the flower pot stands out, I've added a white offset around the edge. My card overall will be 7 by 5 inches once it's folded in half down the score line. And my flower pot design this time is 5.75 inches tall. I'll show you how both the frame and the card version look at the end of this video. But for now, let's go back to the frame version to see how to get it all cut out. When you're happy with how everything is looking in Design Space, press Make over on the top right of the screen. That will separate out all the different colours for you. You can change the paper size in the drop down on the left, and then you can click and drag to move things about to take up less space on the card. Make sure nothing overlaps when you're moving it about, otherwise it won't cut out properly. But by moving this piece over here, it means I've now got all of this bit that I'll have left over on my card to use on another project another day. Or I could have a look in my scraps and see if I've got a piece this big that could fit on, so I wouldn't have to cut into a new sheet. It's completely up to you how you decide to get it cut out. This is a good design for using up some of your card scraps because it's got quite a few colours in, but a lot of them you don't need very much. So if you've got any little bits and pieces of card left over from other projects, this could be the perfect thing to make use of them with. When you're happy with how everything is looking in Design Space, press Continue to connect to your Cricut and then follow the on-screen instructions to get everything cut out from cardstock. If you're new to cutting cardstock with your Cricut, or if you're new to cutting cardstock with a Silhouette or scanning cut, I have separate tutorials and videos on how to follow the full process through, and those steps in those other tutorials will work exactly the same as making this birthday flower pot. To find those, once again, head to craftwithsarah.com/help. So go ahead, get everything cut out, and then we'll see how to stick together our birthday flower pot. Here are all of the pieces of my birthday flower pot cut out. I've laid them all one on top of the other following the assembly guide that's included in the download folder to make sure I'm happy with all of my colours and that I haven't missed any of the little pieces along the way or lost them on my work surface somewhere, especially little parts like the middles of some of those flowers. We'll be sticking this together with a combination of glue and foam squares. The glue I'm using is Barely Art Glue, but I also like halal. And the reason I like these glues are that they don't bend or wrinkle the cardstock like some glues can do. I live in the UK and get both of these on Amazon. To add some depth and dimension between the layers, use foam squares. The ones I'm using are from Dot & Dab, but any brand or size will do. These ones are nice because they're quite small, so I'll be able to fit them in all of my little bits of cardstock. But if yours are bigger, that's fine because they're easy to cut with scissors. As with all my layered designs, we're going to start at the bottom and then work upwards. I'm going to move all of these pieces apart so that I'm just left with the very bottom 2 layers. But I'll try and keep them in order, seeing as I've already gone to the effort of putting all these bits in the order they need to be stuck in. The very bottom piece is this one, which will make up this balloon, and then on top of here we've got this piece to make up the detail on top, and this will be glued on. So turn it upside down and add some glue. Stick it carefully on top, making sure all your edges line up nicely. Like that. Next up, we'll be making the balloon on the other side. This time, let's add some dimension with some foam squares. So turn it upside down and add your foam squares along the back. Try to get some into the sticky out bits, such as the little flower, and also the petals on the flower on the other side. I will also cut some of my foam squares smaller in a moment to go inside the flames in the candles. And then I'm going to work my way around the edge of the flower pot. But as well as putting some around the edge, you also need some in this middle bit to make sure everything sticks nice and flat and level. If there's nothing in the middle here, there's nothing to support this big bit of card, so you might find that it goes downwards and you don't get as good a 3D effect. Alright, I want to make sure those flames are nicely stood out. So just grab some scissors, and it's really easy to cut these. Just go down them and cut them in half. There we go. I actually didn't do a very good job of getting that exactly in half, but they look small enough now that they can go in. The only problem is, once you've cut them this small, they're very tricky. There we go, there's some there, and then I'll pick those up. Alright, now all my foam squares are on. I can peel the tops off to reveal the stickiness underneath. Now my foam squares are all nice and sticky. Let's get this lined up. It's a little bit tricky because the balloon wants to go downwards and get in the way, so I'm going to turn it round, do the balloon first, and then gently line everything up, and then drop it down, but without actually putting any pressure on it yet, so I don't want to stick anything yet. Just line it up, and then drop down. And the reason for that is that if I wasn't happy with that positioning, because it's only gently placed on the red, I can pick it up, see, and move it because nothing's stuck yet. But actually, that looks good. So let's push down to seal. Get all those foam squares nice and stuck. Next up, we've got the details to go on this balloon, which will be glued on. It's quite narrow around the edge, so I'm just going to put my glue in the stripes rather than try and get that narrow little edge. Next up is the yellow part to make up the flames of the candles. These will be glued on. You can line it up where you can see the flames there. Like that. Then we're going for this piece, which will fill in the candle part, again with glue. Now we're on to building up the flower pot. And we've got this piece here, which once again will be glued. Next up is the details that go right along the bottom to make up those candles, another glue layer. There are lots of glue ones in here, but once we get onto the flowers, we'll be adding more foam squares for some dimension. There. Alright, now we're on to all the little pieces. Next up is the ridge or the lip on the edge of the flower pot. This will be done with foam squares to pop it out a little bit. Once again, get it into place and then drop down. Then if you're happy with how that's looking, push to stick. Now we're on to the flowers. And this would actually look really nice if you just cut the flowers to go on a greetings card or a gift tag or something like that. They look really cute in that little grouping of them all together. All right, let's start with the bottom. And this one will be foam squared. Next up is the lighter purple to go in the middle of this one. Again, foam squares for this. Pop it out of it. Want these flowers to look like they're tumbling out of the flower pot. And then in the middle, we've got a circle, just with a little bit of glue. And I'll do this side first, but it doesn't really matter. You could do this side first if you want to. And we're starting with this white piece, which will be glued on. The next step is the yellow with more glue. Then we've got the large flower going on here with some foam squares. And finally for this side, the little middle with some glue. Now onto the final few flowers. We've got the solid bit, which is the size of all of those 3 flowers, to be done with foam squares. Like that. And then next up is the piece that has the shape of the 2 flowers. I'm just going to make sure I've got that the right way round. There, and then we've got the middle circle for that one. It's a very small little piece of card. And then finally, the flower to go on top of there with some glue. And there we are. That is the birthday flower pot all finished. It's got lots of depth, especially in those flowers. And I love all of the bright colours. Now at the start of this video, I showed how you can make an offset around this in Design Space so it stands out better on your background paper. And I thought I'd just give you a little show and tell to show how this works. If I hadn't have done that, my flower pot kind of blends into the background a little bit. It doesn't quite stand out or have that pop effect. It's just a little bit unfinished looking, I think. And it's mostly just because there's so much going on in this background with all of the text. But a simple offset layer to go underneath gives it that definition and helps draw the eye to the picture. And now that's on there, it stands out much better against the background and you can see the picture easier. So that's why I added that offset layer for that one. I'll frame that up shortly, but first, here is a look at the smaller flower pot that I made to go on my 5x7" greetings card. I changed up a couple of the colours. Instead of purple, I've gone for pink and teal, but you can just see how it cuts really nicely, either big or small. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off my shadow box and my card, and then I'll show you what they look like. I've now stuck everything in my shadow box together, and you can see how lovely that looks with the border around the edge of the flower pot to make it pop out from that pattern paper. I really do think it's worth that little bit of effort to add in that extra layer if you are going to be putting the design on quite a busy background. The same thing is true of the greetings card. If I put that in a little closer so you can see, Again, the background paper I've used is quite busy. There's a lot going on and lots of colours, so adding that little white border around the edge of the flowers helps it to stand out and look even more beautiful than it would have done without it. If you enjoyed watching along with me to make these birthday flowers, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more free SVGs and Cricut paper crafts. I'll be back very soon with even more themed flower pot designs, but for now, thank you so much for watching. Bye!